Hey everybody, Johnny Cage here, welcoming you back to another game review. This time we're taking a look at Captain America and the Avengers, developed by Data East and published by Mindscape, released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo. In Captain America and the Avengers, you will play as members of the superhero squad many years before they would become household names with their own cinematic universe, this time attempting to thwart Red Skull's vile plans to take over the world across 5 stages in total. Your cast of characters includes Hawkeye, Captain America, Iron Man, and Vision, who seems to be a bit of an odd inclusion, but hey, at least he was in the films, and considering how many people have been in the Avengers over the years, we could have ended up with someone a lot more obscure. Usually I would break down each character individually, but here they are all pretty much the same. Everyone has a punch, a jump, and they can use their signature attack, which will span almost the entirety of the screen. The only major difference is the amount of damage that they take when getting hit, with Iron Man taking the least and Hawkeye taking the most, though his special attack does travel the full length of the screen as a bit of a trade-off. And you are going to be wanting to spam those special moves a whole lot, since the baddies can easily land hits on you if they get close, and can practically stunlock you to death if you can avoid them. Though if they really pile on, you can try to toss them by standing on top of them, which is common in other beat-em-ups as well. You are also better off jumping to move about the play area. Not only does this help to avoid damage, but the way that you walk can feel like being on a grid sometimes. I found this happen most often when moving diagonally and my character would keep moving even after I let off the D-pad. At least the developers did use the Marvel license quite liberally throughout the game. There's a fair amount of representation on the side of the good guys outside of the main cast, with short cameo appearances by Wonder Man and the Wasp amongst others, who will sometimes even fight by your side for a short while. And with mini-bosses and stage bosses present in every level, including foes like the Mandarin and previously mentioned Red Skull making appearances, I think Marvel fans will be overall satisfied. Though it is a little hard to get excited about enemies like the Claw and Living Laser. I mean, a big pink fist can only be so intimidating. Those baddies aren't going to go easy on you though, as the difficulty here is quite steep. It was normal for beat-em-ups back in the day to be quarter munchers designed to take money out of the pockets of kids at arcades. But usually when it came to the home console ports, you could dial down the difficulty to make these games pretty easy to tackle, but that sure wasn't the case for this one. The options menu does allow for you to set the game difficulty and give yourself up to 5 continues if you would like, but that's it, with the game over kicking you right back to the start menu. There are the occasional health pickups as you progress through the levels, but they are really only for very small amounts compared to the damage that you will be taking, and if you're playing with a second player, it's probably not going to help you too much at all. The game does also offer a training mode where you face off against a second player in one-on-one combat, though this is about as much fun as plain Mode B in the original Double Dragon, and if it wasn't included in the game, you wouldn't be missing anything. The controls are very basic, mimicking those of its arcade counterpart. Y will jump or throw a baddie if you are right on top of them, and can also be used to pick up objects to throw. B will jump, and A will use your special attack. Graphically, the game does its job. There's pretty good use of color here, and the characters certainly look like the comic book heroes they are meant to represent. Speaking of comic books, I do really appreciate the extra touch of having the sound effects spelled out on the screen when you hit somebody. I would have liked the whole play area to be zoomed in a bit more though, increasing the size of sprites and allowing more detail to be added to them. I think this would also have helped with more easily lining up your attacks or grabbing enemies to toss them as well. The soundtrack for the game isn't awful, but pretty weak, especially for the SNES in its prime. I have read that the music is supposed to be better on other ports, but even if it was of higher quality, it would still be muffled by all the damage sound effects you hear when you take a hit. I did enjoy the overly enthusiastic narrator though, spouting one-liners like, "America still needs your help," and starting every level off with, "Okay, go!" These days you can pick up a copy of Captain America and the Avengers on the SNES for about $20 American on eBay, but if that's not your jam, you can pick it up for just about any other system that was current at the time. Full disclosure here, this is one of those games that I grew up with, and having not spent much time with it in the past 25 years or so, I was interested to see how well this one had aged. And honestly, it isn't very good. 7-year-old Johnny was perfectly content with how it looked like Vision was shooting out beams of piss while flying, or delivering some BO blasts from his armpits while on the ground, but sadly the entertainment of this alone has faded in time. Nowadays this game is best enjoyed as a curiosity of how far Marvel games and their entire universe have come, but I think it's safe to say that just about anyone is gonna endgame this one after giving it a play. It also doesn't help that the 16-bit era was the golden age for beat-em-up games, and with so many offerings available, this one just doesn't do enough to stand out, even with a superhero license attached. I'm gonna go ahead and give Captain America and the Avengers 3.5 Avengers Assemble out of 10. It isn't an awful experience, but between some control issues and the game just being way too difficult for its own good, you're better off sticking with the more popular titles in the genre. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you would like to stay posted on new game reviews as I upload them, please click the subscribe button, as well as checking out the link in the description below for my Twitch channel where I stream most days. I'll talk to you all later on.